Two, one. Hey guys, SSJ4 Tarful here, and welcome to the second episode of the Normiewitz podcast. Today, we have Pike L back again. He was here last week. Welcome back to the show.
What's up, Bubs? What's up,
Awesome.
Cole? Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, I'm glad to have you. Thought you'd be great for this particular episode. Now, the rest of our cast is actually completely new to the show, so this is going to be really cool. First, let's introduce the one and the only Neon.
Hello, it's me, Neon. Thank you for having me.
Heck yeah, dude. Welcome.
I appreciate that.
Next, we have the controversial, used to do daily necromancer runs, Thigh.
I still do them, I just don't post them. Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Now, last but not least, is someone who has been... He's been, gone for a while, it seems. Been hibernating. But it's kind of like a return. It's not on his channel, but he will eventually, I assume. I'm proud to welcome Orange Soda.
What is up, bitches? I hope you're ready for a can of rebrand.
He just had to turn into a bit. All right, guys, thank you for having me on the stream.
Good night.
Oh my god.
Good night and God bless. I'm out.
I think
I
I'm
was
gonna
only
turn in
here for
early
that
today.
fun. I'm gone. I quit. No, I'm just playing. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
man.
I fully plan on returning. I took some time, really, and just to get this announcement out of the way. Yes, I'm going to return. I'm also going to help Neon start his own YouTube channel, which is going to be a partner thing between the two of us. We're going to start a side project. It's going to be great. And furthermore, I just want to shift my my channel away from drama and negativity. I think what I've realized is that there are a lot of smaller YouTubers who are purposefully trying to start drama with me just to get clout and to become popular, and I'm enabling them. It's like I can defend myself without naming names, you know, and I need to stop doing
and
that.
Not only, and that's what I told him that too. But in all seriousness, do you want to give the official name? Or did you want to wait until the name reveal on a later date? What do you think?
I'm willing to drop it now if you are, baby.
Do we even know if it's available? It's that early in production.
Did we check? God,
no, we didn't check. So
God,
we
how
didn't
did we not think to check if it was taken?
We're scared. We're scared to drop it. You know what? Let's go forward. We'll name drop it later.
All right, we'll name drop it later, but we do have a second channel in the making. Thank you all so much for supporting me throughout this hiatus. Somehow I've gained subscribers, and the video, my exit video, got a shit ton of views, and I'm very thankful for that. A lot of my audience is also Tarful's audience, and thank you all for that as well. And furthermore, I'd just like to say that it's an honor to be here, and I'm nervous. This is the first time I've actually recorded with anyone in 2 months. I'm rusty. I'm not a big YouTube man anymore.
I really don't record with many people
again, because we're gonna keep saying furthermore throughout this whole thing. Apparently,
furthermore. Truthfully, I feel like I'm in my natural element here, man. You know, I'm kidding. I'm a bit nervous too.
Furthermore, I'm just kidding.
Well, Alex, you have one job. That's to talk about the big monkey.
You're right. I'm here.
I'm getting to that. So, I'm glad to have everyone here. It's going to be a great episode. Obviously, you've probably read the title. This episode
link to my channel in the description.
Yes.
Alex, you cut that man off one more time. We're fist fighting.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so Godzilla versus Kong. That's the subject of this episode. I'm changing up the format of this episode from the last one. We're going to actually open with the main point. And then the minor points will be towards the end, and there won't be as many, but yeah. So one interesting thing, some of the people here were selected specifically because I think they have interesting connections to the films, and I think that would be a great way to start. I think let's each talk about our history with the franchise. So some of us are more recent, some of us have always been fans. And but I'm curious, so let's start with I'll start on the left on my screen. So we'll start with Neon, and then we'll just move right from there.
Sounds good. All right, so I've kind of been a big fan of Godzilla for many years. I've gone to that franchise. Who doesn't love the concept of big giant monsters? Fighting in the city. That's something that Godzilla to me is a multicultural, sensational phenomenon that is really probably one of the biggest icons in all of cinema history, dating back to 1954. All of that stuff. It took the world by storm. This enchanting tale of this man-made nuclear radioactive beast, from the depths of the waters, here to wreak havoc upon all of Tokyo. It's something that I've always been fascinated with and stuff like that. So it goes back a long ways, and I've been part of this new MonsterVerse since it first came out in 2014 in theaters and all that stuff. So really happy to be here.
Awesome. Next up, oh boy, not again. All right, here we go. So orange soda. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, huge shout out to my grandfather. My grandfather, I call him Pop, but he's the man. He's introduced me to a lot of old cheesy franchises that I love, such as Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Godzilla, all that good classic stuff that I missed out on when I was just a youngster. So I'd like to personally thank him for all that. But I when I was younger, I watched the Godzilla cartoons, watched some of the older movies, and then I got off of it for a little while because Shin Godzilla freaked me out. But I dove back into it. I've enjoyed the MonsterVerse so far.
He wanted out. I drug him back in.
No, Neon's been very helpful. Neon got me caught up on stuff when I decided I wanted to get back into the franchise. I've actually been a Kong fan for a lot longer. I read the King Kong novel for a school project when I was a wee boy, a wee lad. I did it for a reading assignment in elementary school.
Very nice.
I also watched Peter Jackson's King Kong with my entire family. My dad bought the movie on DVD. We all sat in the living room together.
It was a great movie.
For the longest time, one of my absolute favorite fighting scenes in film was when he fought the V-Rexes and he breaks one of his jaw and all that. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
But I've been a kaiju fan for a long time. Although I think I'm one of the few people that can say that he was a Kong fan long before he was a Godzilla fan.
And that's where everybody's gonna boo.
But yeah.
But I appreciate his diversity. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, next now. This one's kind of interesting because I actually kind of know the history to this guy. Pike L. Let's hear your history with the franchise.
So, I'll admit I was never into like the Godzilla kind of stuff. Even like when these newer movies started to come out, and I remember like the first movie, I watched, it was King of the Monsters, and me and Cole were in student council, and we put it together, and we directed like putting the whole thing together, and we got to watch it, and I had to listen through a bunch of loud teenagers that wouldn't pay attention to the movie. So yeah, and then afterward I was like, okay, I need to see the rest of these because they were that good. And I already saw Kong Skull Island, but I didn't really understand it. I watched it as a standalone thing just because, there was a movie in the movie theaters, might as well go see it. So I'll admit that. And then I watched the Godzilla where they fight the what's the monsters in that one? The
Mudos.
The Mudos.
Mudos. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mudos,
those were
yeah.
cool. And then Ghidorah, and then finally we get to see Godzilla versus Kong. I was on Godzilla's side the whole time. He's my boy.
Absolutely.
I'm Team Kong.
And
all
there's
the
a
way.
reason why they call. Yeah, I mean, I did like, and I'll save this for the discussion, how we follow Kong through the newer movie. And it kind of made me want to switch to him, but I was like, nope.
So
Nope,
I knew what the
Godzilla
narrative of this movie was going to be, and what the plot points and then the key points that they do achieve. Because one thing I think that we all can say before we get into this is that these characters are so important to people, regardless of who you're pulling for. They're pretty much the most iconic characters in all of cinema history. And honestly, I was more interested to see how they were going to, be gentle about this. The key point of this whole movie was, one had to, definitive winner, the director, Adam Wingard, I believe his name is, said that he wanted a actual winner because in 1962 or 1966,
I think
he
it's
said that
62.
there wasn't a definitive winner, and he said that the main inspiration going into this movie was that there would be. So
See, I'd
Well-
argue there was, but
I
Well,
agree, there was very much a definitive winner.
that's an absolutely beautiful thesis from all of you, but I'm ready to hear Thigh just absolutely regurgitate nonsense and seek the Titanic that is this podcast.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
that's
do
what
it.
I'm here
Let's
for.
go to the iceberg.
Well,
Yep.
Darfel here is kind of insane because I don't really have an interesting perspective on kaiju. Really,
Wow.
I've
No,
seen
no, that's what makes
You don't
it.
have an interesting
No,
perspective.
see, that's what
That's
makes it
a first.
interesting. It's because this is what makes it interesting. It's because you're kind of normie in it, so you give a
Dude,
more fresh view
dude.
on it.
This is the dude that has an interesting perspective on everything. This is the guy who tried to convince me at your birthday party that Minecraft was part of the Illuminati. Holy, come
You're
on,
slandering me. You're genuinely just slandering me.
bro!
That did not happen.
I've seen how you play Cards Against Humanity. You're
His lawyers
chaotic
will be in
neutral.
touch with you later, Alex. His lawyers will be in touch with you later.
Yes, they will.
What? He
All right.
killed all of his lawyers
Big
during the
brain.
filming of Normiewitz.
That's
Oh,
true.
God.
That's true.
So,
I don't
where
need
we gonna continue?
Well, I saw what? When was it?
I know
that
we
we
saw
saw
Shin
that one.
Godzilla.
Yeah, that
2016
one. We
one,
saw
yeah.
that
Shit.
one.
Oh, you saw Shin back in 2016?
Yeah, we saw it in theaters.
IMAX.
Uh,
I saw that one.
That's
And I
a
have some
masterpiece.
familiarity with other kaiju media, mostly through mecha anime, but that doesn't really
That's
hold
totally-
much water
Hey, that's
here.
close enough. I mean, it's pretty
Hey,
much
that's not too far off.
they cross over pretty
dude,
much all the time.
Hmm.
Dude, Evangelion, Attack
Yeah.
on Titan, and Gundam are all considered kaiju anime. So like,
And not only
don't
that, but Shin Godzilla is crossed over with Evangelion.
Well, I
It's
know
official.
the director worked on Evangelion. I do know that.
yeah.
That
Oh, I
film.
didn't know
Evangelion
that.
also did a-
crossover.
There's a commercial with some like razor brand, so I really don't want to hear about everything Evangelion's crossed over with.
Okay.
Well, hey,
absolutely.
did you know that they also sponsored this video? No, I'm just
No.
kidding.
No. Hey guys, it's time to get your Raycons. It's
It's
Time to
wireless
lose your
headphones.
Raycon earbuds, guys. Your
Rainbow King keyboard.
Hold on, guys. I gotta shave with my Dollar Shave Club subscription real fast.
Your Dollar Shave Club,
If one of
and
these
you know what?
companies
Don't
ever-
forget Squarespace.
If one of
Don't-
these
so-
companies
so-
ever try to like sponsor me, I hope they don't see this. I'm not trying to be
No,
rude.
dude, this would be great because they know that we care. We love
Oh,
you.
yeah,
Please,
we care
sponsor
so
us,
much.
Please. Shut
Dude.
up, Cole. You're ruining your own chances. This is your
No.
channel.
In all seriousness, I will say this. Honestly, I'm excited. When I was allowed to be here, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be fun. So thank you again for having me. Honestly, I'm
Heck
very
yeah.
much elated.
Yeah, we
Well-
had to literally assassinate Blake to get you here. So
Yeah, so thank you. I
send your
appreciate it.
condolences to his family at his funeral.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, he shut that down real quick. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
he was like, no mercy for the fallen.
Oh god. But I guess but as you can see, my four other co-hosts here for this particular episode do have very interesting views on the series, and I think they all can bring something interesting to the table for this discussion.
I
guess
didn't even know King of Monsters existed until after I saw Godzilla vs. Kong, so...
Just like how you knew that you didn't know there was a royal wedding until after it happened.
Yes, exactly! Why should I care about British people?
Bro, I love Godzilla versus King God. It's my favorite episode of Pokemon.
Anyway, but
Alex,
my
Alex, who invited you to the podcast? My God.
Like, call speak.
Nobody.
okay.
I can't say
He
slurs.
just opens the door and he just enters. Hey guys. Oh my
So-
God, man.
I
So,
didn't get invited. I just have to be here because Neon's here. He's my babysitter.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I think it's important to give my I guess you all gave your little stories. I guess I'll give mine. For me, okay, ever since I was young, I had always been into King Kong. I think King Kong has like always been big part of my life. Maybe it's a weird. Okay, it's weird in my memory. I do remember the Peter Jackson film a lot, especially around the time when it actually released.
Yeah.
It was really good. And I think it kind of stuck with me. I went and saw the original. I saw the one from '76. '76 one's really not that good, but the effects are kind of cool. So I've always been a Kong fan. I'd say starting in about maybe 2012, I got into Godzilla because I was on YouTube. No shock there, right? And I was watching the YouTuber Cinemassacre back in '08 had done a thing called Monster Madness and he reviewed all the Godzilla films in honor of it. So I watched that.
I think I might know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably do. You probably do.
That nerd is the
But that's what got me into it, because so he at the time he had reviewed all of them, including the '98 one, and the last one he reviewed was the 2004 for that particular marathon. So I pretty much got like a big old history lesson on the series,
Like a syringe full of Godzilla serum.
Yeah, pretty much, because then I ended up just trying to discover as much as I could about the series. Learned about the video games, some of the shitty ones, but then like the cool tournament fighters they did, which they should totally do more of, because I want to see Jaguar again.
Jaguar's my man. Up high.
Woo woo, yeah. But so my story does begin with YouTube, and I feel for Godzilla, and I think that's it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people had that kind of start with it. And I remember being disappointed because at the time, Final Wars was the last film they had made, so there hadn't been a Godzilla film for a while. Then they announced the American one for 2014 with Bryan Cranston. I think Gareth Edwards directed that one. And
Gareth Edwards did.
Yeah.
And oh God, were people scared? The last Godzilla movie we got in the U.S. was Zilla.
Yeah, that was.
So we don't talk about that. No, you know what? I agree with you that. You know, it may
honestly,
not have been
it's
amazing.
Not that bad, but it's like I think it works as a monster movie. I think it's just a bad Godzilla movie in particular, but I think it works for what it's going for. I can't.
After they rebranded him as his own kaiju, he did really well. So once they introduced him to the story as his own thing, worked out.
But back to what I was saying. We then Kong Skull Island came out. Yeah, that was the next one to come out. And, that movie was a lot of fun, actually. I rewatched it before watching Godzilla vs. Kong, and that is a fun movie. Like I don't know what it is about it, but it's like a lot of fun. I know, Will, you had said it earlier. It was different. One thing about that movie that I find interesting is the tone. I feel is different from the other King Kong movies, and it's more of it's just a fun '70s movie. Like, I mean, it's not what made in the '70s, obviously, but it's that era.
The timeline
Jackson
takes place.
Is hilarious in that movie. Oh my God,
remember when
he sold that?
Remember
movie.
Remember when Groot killed Nick Fury in that Shield helicopter?
He's talking about the scene where
happened. I know what he's. I know what the hell he's referencing.
The tree
but I don't know what.
Okay. Think of how funny of a sentence that is. Hey, did you see that monkey throw that tree at Samuel L. Jackson?
To be fair, he survived that because it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Because he's fucking Mace Windu. He probably leaped out of it and sliced it in half with his lightsaber. Well,
actually, now that you say he's Mace Windu, maybe he did die. Because apparently Mace Windu, unlike the other Jedi, is able to die from a high distance. Anyway, let's get off topic.
As far as we know, hint. See you in season 3 of The Mandalorian, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
And then of course, like Josh said, I saw Shin Godzilla in theaters. That was a lot of fun. Saw it subtitled. It was a fun experience. God. Then we saw. Obviously, I saw King of the Monsters. Heck yeah, I love that movie. You know, I think
it's the best. Okay, yeah. Can we just say? Can we all collectively agree? Can we all collectively agree it's the best monster movie out there?
Disagree.
Second, only to King Kong, to Godzilla vs. Kong. I still think that's the best one at this point. It's just so fun. Speaking of, that's where my story ends. We get to Godzilla vs. Kong. So let's actually start talking about the movie. I think we've got a good build up for it. Now, let's start with the monsters. So I want to hear what Will has to say about this. What did you think of the monsters in this movie? And also, just so everyone knows, spoilers. We're now going to discuss like actual spoilers. Unless we've said a spoiler earlier. I don't know. But we're definitely doing spoilers now. So anyway, go Will. I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. It was great. What more do you want me to say? It
The
was great to
monsters.
see Kong again, and
All right, Will, thank
big
you for your
height.
time.
I'm glad to finally see him like adult size. I'm glad to see Godzilla return, and I loved the fight on the aircraft carrier. That was
That one
probably
gave
the
me, like,
highlight for
a
me,
heart
besides the
attack.
main fight with what?
That one about gave me a heart attack.
Oh, I
was,
know
I was like, no,
it was
no.
very high tense. Yeah. And I also loved the fight with Mecha. I thought he looked amazing. Mecha
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I loved it. He looked amazing.
Mecha was always
And
been one of my favorites, so I was really
and
happy.
even though it was
Absolutely.
minor, I loved seeing the Titans that were like in Middle Earth, like it
Yeah,
was like that
You
lizard
see,
thing.
Steve, they're saying Middle Earth too. See, Alex?
it's pretty
Nah,
much.
dude, Middle Earth is great, dude. That
I know
fucking.
I know in the movie they call it Hollow Earth, but like Middle Earth just sounds
It's
so much
Middle
better.
Earth.
Middle
I
Earth,
know,
Hollow
That's
right?
Earth.
exactly what me and Neon said, though. I was like, bro, it's just Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings. We're calling it that forever now.
Center of Journey to the Center of the Earth, whatever you want to call it. But
Journey
I
to the
loved
center
it.
of
It
the
looked
center.
amazing.
Journey towards the center of the earth.
That movie was good, by the way. Journey to the Center of the Earth was a masterpiece. I don't care what y'all
The
say.
part where they're in the minecart getting chased by the T-Rex while the volcanoes are up. God, that is a good movie.
Yeah. But I loved like the gravity thing, because that is something that I've always considered. I was like, this doesn't work. But so I'm glad they touched on that. And I love the part where they're journeying through the tunnel, and it was that weird scene where they were crossing over in that layer of whatever, and you just hear that loud piercing noise. That I think for all of us, it was that moment where our ears bled a little. They did that that scream or
Yeah.
whatever, and I was like, ow.
See,
So
the whole Hollow Earth plot line, it doesn't make sense scientifically, but I don't care. It's just for fun, right? So I think it's super cool, especially for the future of this MonsterVerse. Now they have an excuse to introduce
Exactly.
more monsters because
Now
they're
you
from
get
the
what I'm
Hollow
going
Earth.
for. This is your
Yeah.
Monster Island. This is Monster Island
Yeah.
right here.
Pretty much. So we
Bro.
can get a crap ton now, which is awesome. And that is if it continues, which at this point I actually think it's going to continue, which kind of surprises me because going into the Godzilla vs. Kong, I was expecting this to probably be the last one. Whether it was good
I
or
heard
not.
that. I heard they're just getting started.
Yeah, so we'll have to
They
see
have-
about
dude,
that.
So the fucking director last stated they had 10 more movies planned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I think I guess before we get to the cool stuff, we can talk about the weakest part of the movie, I guess. What was your guys' thoughts on the human characters? I thought they were okay. I mean, I don't
I
watch
actually
these
wrote a
movies.
thesis on this. I
Oh,
wrote a
you
little
did?
thesis on this.
Oh,
A little
let's hear
bit,
it.
some high points. So the thing about it is, right, I've watched all of these movies congruently since 2014, and then I watched Kong in theaters as well, and then I watched King of the Monsters, and you get that process. So the idea is that the one thing that I noticed that they did differently is, did you notice for the first Godzilla and then for Kong, they had John Goodman as one of the main, type character, like a big name. John Goodman's huge
Yeah.
Hollywood name, right?
Gotta
Same with
love John
Bryan
Goodman.
Cranston. Fresh off of Breaking Bad, we had Bryan Cranston, and then we have John Goodman. They didn't notice how they didn't, and then they had Samuel L. Jackson as well. But notice how they didn't do that in Godzilla versus Kong. They didn't have this crazy giant, branded actor. Not the actors there were trash or anything, but did you notice they didn't, have a
Yeah.
cameo from Clint Eastwood or whatever? They didn't
Yeah,
do
because
that.
that's a good point. Because I think with Millie Bobby Brown, for example, I think she was different because she was already in the previous movie, and then I think that movie they had filmed before she'd gotten big, popularity-wise. I don't know. Could be wrong.
I'd like to clarify that her character, she plays the guy's daughter, right? She plays the girl
Yeah.
that has a bond with Godzilla and the King of the Monsters.
No,
Mm.
Millie. She
No,
plays
no.
the girl that the one that's watching the podcast guy. She's obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Bernie, I think is his name, right?
Bernie.
Yeah.
Don't burn
Alex
me.
Jones. Alex Jones.
He's pretty
Yeah,
much
her-
Alex Jones.
No, her whole thing is that
If
she's
he
the
had a
same
heart.
little girl who had a bond with Godzilla and King of the Monsters. And her dynamic is that she's getting into this argument with her father because her father initially agrees with Apex. He just thinks that Godzilla is attacking for no reason. But she completely disagrees because she had a bond with Godzilla and King of the Monsters, and she doesn't believe that he would just start attacking for no
I'm
reason.
also just gonna, and I think so. I think you might be right, but I'm also gonna jump ahead, right? And I don't know about that. I really don't. But I'm gonna jump ahead. Okay, so the acting has been relatively weak in terms of the acting. Okay, we don't come here to watch the actors act. We come here to watch the
Yeah.
monsters fight, right?
I want to see
One
the
thing
monkey
that the
punch
humans
the lizard.
exactly. So the idea is that the acting has always been relatively weak, even from the performances from John Goodman and Bryan Cranston. Samuel, it's been a more lighthearted tone. But the one thing I want to say that I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up is let's talk about Gia. Is she not literally the coolest character the franchise I think to date has produced? And she's So I wanted to do some fun facts about her that maybe none of you actually knew that she had to face as challenges of being such a young age, right?
Really? Okay, let's hear it.
So number one, she had a lot of horrible translation issues with sign language, right? A lot of the times they'd get lost in translation from what they wanted her to sign and what she thought they were trying to get her to sign. So there was a giant setback there. That was another challenge. And you know how they usually have like a foam hand or something like that in order to interact with on screen with the CGI?
Oh,
None of that.
Neon, sorry to interrupt you. I'm hearing some audio crackling. I don't know if it's from your mic or something. Okay, what you were saying was like legible, but I could hear a crackling. So I don't know if you know.
Let me hold on.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah. I would agree. I think that little girl, I wouldn't be surprised if she did have trouble filming wise. I'm sure it's hard for anyone like that. I
All
definitely
child actors are like that.
Anybody hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay, cool. All right, I think that solved it. So I was gonna say they didn't have anything
Never
for
mind.
her to visualize whatsoever.
Oh,
They
audio crackling.
Yep, that sucks. I might be facing technical difficulties, but damn, we haven't came in early for this. Hold on.
Okay.
Major
But,
Tom to ground control.
But no, I actually out of all the human characters, she was probably the only one I actually, besides the ones that were from King of the Monsters, just because I kind of already, I had a movie to actually, get to know them. It was the girl that that had the side connection to Kong or whatever is probably my favorite, and that's about it.
From just watching Godzilla vs. Kong, I had no idea Millie Bobby Brown was supposed to have had some connection with Godzilla. That was not conveyed.
Yeah, that was all from the last movie. Mostly.
that
Like,
was
I
all-
guess that's you had to see the first one, but it was very obvious with the show.
And it's really weird. It's a massive plot hole because they just pretend like the whole link was severed for Godzilla versus Kong, and it just doesn't make any. There's a lot of weird inconsistencies like that, but what I was gonna say is that literally the director hates all of that in the movie. He recently had something come out about it. He released a whole statement. So apparently,
I did see that.
Apparently he accidentally signed they accidentally signed her onto a 2-movie contract, and that wasn't the intention. It was just a miscommunication. She asked if she could be in a second movie, and they just told her yes to get her on the project, and they were sort of forced to do it because they were trying to talk her out of it, and she was really adamant that she was in the film, and they already had the contract drawn up, so they couldn't cut her.
I bet
So
you the
literally,
studio pushed
her
it.
character, the podcast narrative, all that stuff, none of it was intended in the original cut of the film, and most of it was added after the fact. So
I like
all
Bernie,
of
though.
that,
I do like Bernie. Now,
Bernie and all that was a forced narrative. It wasn't intended. It wasn't in
That's
the original.
unfortunate because
All of that was
Bernie. I love Bernie,
I
but I
love
really
Bernie
don't
as
like
a
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. is
I don't
really
remember-
don't like her as an actor or actress.
I don't-
really like
I haven't heard that particular comment from the director. I wouldn't be surprised. He's been very vocal recently about the whole movie.
No,
He's
he's already
happy
straight
with
up
it,
said.
though.
Yeah,
happy
no,
with
he's
it, though.
already.
He's
He's
already
already
said he
stated
doesn't
that
want
he
to do
has
like a
regrets,
cut.
but he loves the film anyway.
Post the source. Post the source.
Post the story.
And unfortunately, he already announced that there wasn't going to be a director's cut, which is just unfortunate.
Is my
Yeah,
voice
Just
but-
cut out Bernie.
Well,
Is
he
my
did
voice
say if
still
there was a
popping?
director's
Oh my
cut,
goodness.
it'd just be more people talking. So I
Yep.
kind of get in this situation why it's not necessary.
Right,
I
no-
will say
I agree.
I really like the. Fuck, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. My mind just kind of went
What
away.
you were going to say is Neon coming in clear. I can hear him good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, hi, I'm back. Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you guys on what you were saying.
and it crackled again.
I just-
close.
I love this.
Unfortunate.
I love this.
Yeah, I feel so bad. Oh god. It always happens. There's always some kind of glitch that happens.
All
during
falling apart. Thanks,
recording.
Discord.
It wouldn't be an SSJ for a Tarful video without technical difficulties, now would it?
Oh,
Truth.
you're the funniest man alive.
It wouldn't be an orange video either.
Am I wrong?
No, well, yeah, you're right. But
Well,
no, we definitely I guess we're all pretty much in agreement about the human characters. I think I want to hear what Will has to say about this particular one, and then I want to hear what Josh has to say, because I think Will, you're newer to the whole monster thing, so I'm curious to see what your view is on the plots generally, not with these plots not being, I guess, as extravagant, or I don't know a good word for it. And then because I think and then Josh obviously is more he's not just a kaiju fan, you know, he's in the film also.
I have
right?
an extremely
So
controversial opinion, so I'll go last.
So
have more.
let's hear what you got to say about it, Will. What's your opinion on them trying to focus more on the monsters themselves instead of having, I guess, let's say like a Citizen Kane level narrative, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, I was just gonna wait to see if someone wanted to answer for me. I don't mind. I don't focus a lot on the human actors. Like, I don't know if I'm just not that big of a film buff to where I care, so much about bad actors, because frankly I didn't
do like
notice
Superman Returns.
And
Oh,
so
great movie.
I like watching the monsters, and I'm fine if they want to put some humans in there. It's fine if they have to have like some mini subplot or whatever. I'm fine with that.
I think it's important to have a story going for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be some kind of story. I agree with that, but
If it was
like,
just 2 hours of
prefer-
monsters fighting, it wouldn't be much of a movie. Well,
Yeah.
Right.
mhm.
I mean, personally, as a fan, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But
Well, me neither. Like,
yeah, but I think
what we got
I
to
feel
think
like
about it from a narrative.
yeah.
Well, from a studio perspective, I think they do want to have humans, and from what Will was saying, I do understand that. For me, I'm very some film franchises, I just don't really care too much about acting, if you know what I mean. Sometimes
Yes,
I can
sir.
just look past that and enjoy what I'm watching. I know
Same.
yeah,
Here.
and I know I have some, obviously I personally, I have some controversial film opinions. There's certain films that are generally said to be pretty bad that I enjoy, and I know Will has that. I mean, we all probably do. There's probably a movie out there everyone hates that we like, or whatever, right? But Josh, you made a good point. If it was just 2 hours of monsters fighting, it wouldn't be much of a movie.
And that's what I had to tell
Yeah.
Orange.
What do you think would be what do you think's a solution to this? Do you think they should try to work more with the human plots? Should they simplify them even further, or keep it where it is? What do you think
I
would be
felt there were a lot of not a lot of extra characters. That one evil, very just evil. That's her only personality trait. Woman. That was like the daughter
yeah.
of the head evil guy. She felt, oh my god,
I forgot she was in the movie.
yeah, exactly. It gave me like liver cancer just like seeing her on the screen. I'm like, I already know the entire like everything about this character. She's just gonna
for me,
die
it's
in a
like-
really stupid way when she's about to be evil.
True,
Right.
but it didn't feel good. Like when she died, like
I loved
that's
it.
what
Well,
the point
yeah.
of characters like
I'm
that.
morbid.
But it was. I like how he looked into first. He was like, "Is Little G in there?" Nope.
Nope,
Smash.
crunch. I love how do you ever seen like Nightmare on Elm Street where like he crushes the cockroach, and he turns somebody into a cockroach, just crushes it like that. He like looks inside and then like, just with
That's
one
like
swipe
when I
of
go
his
outside and I step on a cockroach I find.
Well, it's like,
You know?
crushing a styrofoam cup. Just like, could you imagine that? Just the satisfaction of like they immediately don't exist
Yeah.
after just one.
I would have genuinely liked it more if they just implied she died off screen or never said anything else about her than giving like an entire 10 seconds to Kong looking inside the ship and crushing it.
No, I loved her. I enjoyed watching her perish. I'm morbid that
Well,
way. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it was like I don't remember the word.
I mean, it's not
gave
that
me
you're
great-
morbid. Like in
Great
film, it's
chemicals
okay.
in my brain.
Yeah.
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 I'm not
Um,
insane for like watching people die. Of course not.
Let's see, and I'm gonna make one more point, and we'll shoot back to Alex. Because I know he said he has a controversial thing he'd like to say, and I'm curious to see what he has to say.
I do, but I'm not too worried because I get hate comments anyway, so it's okay. As long as my
Gotcha.
precious baby Cole doesn't
Hey.
get anywhere fun.
This
Good,
might
good.
stop him from rebranding. People are just going to send him hate mail.
I make 100% of Cole hate comments.
Yeah, he does.
I know you do, you son of a. That's Neon makes 100% of orange soda hate comments.
If I
Hey,
ever,
high five.
I want everyone to know, if I ever have a YouTube video and there's just one dislike on it, 9 out of 10 times it's Josh.
It's definitely Josh. It's always Josh.
No, he's admitted to it. He
If there's
tells
no
me I
dislikes, I'll
disliked
like
your
He was
video.
talking about it at your birthday party. He was like, "I am 100% of your."
If there's no dislikes, I'll dislike it. But if there's the one dislike, I'll like it.
yeah,
Aw,
he
ain't
is
that
the
sweet?
decider.
Yeah.
He's Thanos.
You know what? I'll take the fall. I'll dislike the video. How about that? I'll be in a bad.
Oh my
Neon.
god. But
Bro,
I
Neon,
know.
Josh, dude,
The world needs Neon.
run away together.
I think narratively speaking, I think things can get better. I think an issue, and they narratively, the human plots have never been able to live up to the levels of King Kong from 33 and Peter Jackson's King Kong and then Godzilla 54. I think Shin
I agree.
Godzilla came pretty close, but it still has its issues. I think those first three I mentioned are like the top of
I'll
monster
agree with you.
movies. And I think I feel like they should strive to reach that level, but at the same time, the reason those three in particular are very different than the others in the series because they're they're focused generally on one monster. I know King Kong, he fights T-Rexes and stuff, but the film there's not a versus movie, you know? It's about Kong and what he does, right? And I think those movies work because there's more of a dramatic plot to it. There's one monster. Those movies weren't meant to just be spectacles, which they are. There's no doubt in that. But they're meant to be lessons and allegories and
Right.
stuff
So
like
can
that.
I go? And I wanted to say this before Alex, and I'll make it really short. So the one thing I always try to specify with Kong is that he's an emotional character that is supposed to relate to people
Yeah.
on a viewing standpoint, and that's why I was like, I love the narrative that he's taking on Godzilla in this crossover, but Kong never was intended to be the king of the monsters. He's like the eighth wonder of the world, right? He's supposed to draw you
Yeah.
in on an emotional level, whereas Godzilla is just visually fun to watch. It's a different
Oh, yeah.
perspective.
Well, they're definitely very different monsters because King Kong, when he was introduced, obviously was introduced. You know, he's meant to be the protagonist of that movie. I'd argue he is the main character in the 33 film. I do think he is, which was very ahead of its time, obviously, because that's a special
Absolutely.
effect throughout the whole thing. And then the
Absolutely.
Peter Jacksons, I could see there being an argument. I still think he's definitely one of the most important characters. The issue is that
Let's
movie's just
be
so
honest.
long. It's hard
Well,
to fully.
Let's just be honest. When we watch Peter Jackson's King Kong, dude, no one gave a crap about the human characters, dude. We all just wanted to see King Kong, dude.
They wanted
Bro,
to
what are
see
you
my-
talking about? Every single time Jack Black is in a movie, I'm invested.
I forgot.
Black was in
Jack
it?
Black. Yes, he was.
No, I love it. I love Jack Black. I really am. But like, come on, you tell me you just came to see Jack Black. You want to see King Kong, man? He's the guy.
Bro, who's Kong? I
You're
don't remember
both
there being-
wrong. I came to see Andy Serkis do the CG for the monkey because Andy Serkis is like awesome.
Yes.
I feel like because his work at Planet of the Apes is so good. I think people forget King Kong was like one of his first monkey
What is it with
movies,
him
as
and
I'm gonna
monkeys?
call it.
The only movies, so the only movies he broke box office records with were the movies he made about monkeys. What's up with that?
Well, hey, to be fair, he was also Gollum in Lord of the Rings, so you know there's
I mean,
that.
Good point.
But
Very good
monkey is what he's known for. He's
But hear
known
me
for
out,
that.
They were the monkeys.
One could argue that Gollum is a monkey.
Well, what's your
I wanna-
perspective, though, Alex?
I wanna-
wanted
wait.
to know what your controversial
Okay.
perspective was.
Before Alex is, I got to make one comment. Just
Okay.
one. Everyone, do not type in the chat that King Kong is an ape. I know he's an ape. I know he doesn't have a tail and he's not a monkey. Do not leave a comment saying that. I'm not going to hear that 30 times. I know the difference between a monkey and an ape, damn it. I just want to make joke. All right, you can go, Alex.
I'd like to second that real quick before I begin my thesis. Me and Cole are Dragon Ball YouTubers. We've been calling monkeys apes because it's literally like the English dub name is Great Ape. I'm sorry. We know they're monkeys because they have tails, but they're
Keep
called
making
Great Ape.
excuses, weeaboo.
It's the opposite with Kong. everyone calls him a monkey, even though he's actually an ape. It's literally the same problem. Like, it's stupid.
What were they
it's not
thinking?
okay? Leave us alone.
What were they
Anyway.
thinking?
But
Okay,
anyway,
Go, yeah.
so here's my controversial opinion. Nathan is my favorite character. I aside from Gia, obviously, I've already established that Gia is my favorite character.
I don't think that's controversial. I agree. He was wonderful.
Nathan's the
Nathan-
guy.
He's Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, Alexander Skarsgård. He was the
Yeah.
kind of I feel like he was.
He's a
the love
stepdad
interest.
character. Yeah, he's like the stepdad.
Oh, the dude who looked like Owen Wilson for a little bit.
So
Before he cut his hair and shaved, I thought he was Owen Wilson.
I adored Alexander Skarsgård's character. I adored little Gia. I adored her adoptive mother. That one thing I was not expecting from this movie was good acting. Like those three characters, their actors did really well. There are several scenes that are very emotional and pull on the heartstrings, and I was not expecting that from a cheesy monster movie.
You know,
They-
out of
they
all
were
the
good.
movies, I agree with you, Alex. Out of all the ones that we've seen, this had the best
Yeah.
acting.
I would say
Those three specifically. I'll get into the other actors when I
will
get to them.
say, when it comes to overall performance, I still think the film could have done better. I think in the overall
Same here.
MonsterVerse, those three actors mentioned that were definitely the best part. I still think Bryan Cranston's the best, even though he was barely in the first one. He is just really good in that movie. They killed him way too
He's
early.
great.
Yeah,
Dude,
but
he's great.
But I
No
will say
guy.
these three are definitely really good in comparison to what we have gotten. But again, I think the difference is the plot here was simplified from King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
That one was just all constant plot, but with movie.
Yeah, but these three were beautiful characters with wonderful motivation, and they were relatable, and they had this realistic feel behind them, and it was a beautiful way of not only humanizing Kong and making you root for him as the alleged protagonist, but it was also a good way to make you care about the human characters early on. Because like it doesn't matter how many times Black Alex Jones pops up on screen, you're like, oh my god, please let little baby Gia be safe.
Yeah, it's definitely
So-
the more interesting of the plots.
Yeah.
have to
You know what? And the
100%
one thing
say.
I knew that this movie had to do, though, one
Still
thing that
love
we all
Bernie,
can agree
though.
on, I definitely said this. I said the one thing that this movie is going to do is it's going to establish Kong, because we've already got two Godzilla movies. The second one already established him. This would be Kong's second appearance in the franchise. This is going to establish him, and who to better do that against the king himself, right?
Yeah.
There's so like a main issue that I have early on, and this is where we start to get into my controversial opinion. There are way too many
I
jokes.
thought you- No, continue. I'm sorry.
You're fine. There are way too many jokes in this movie. I feel like every single time a serious scene happens, they interject a joke for no reason. There are way too many sudden jump cuts in this damn movie. Every time I get invested into two kaijus fighting, or a scientist scientifically explaining why something is a certain way, or I'm looking at this beautiful fucking background scenery and looking at these new kaiju that they've just introduced in Hollow Earth, you know, I get ripped away from it for like toilet humor, like for like a really basic lowbrow joke out of nowhere. And I was fine with it when it was cutting from the serious stuff to the funny stuff, but then it got to the point to where they were cutting from the actual serious final battle of the fucking movie to just jokes. And it was really annoying and unsatisfying. And I would have been fine if it was every now and again, like the Avengers movies, like they just do like a little joke in the middle of the fight and then that's it. But like literally, like if you cut out the human parts, the final battle of the film is fucking 3 minutes, and that is absolutely ridiculous. That is
I
not
agree.
okay.
That brings me to what I always actually had to say into what the monsters are doing. So there's two things I want to say that's really easy. All right, for what the fight actually entailed. You know, we saw, like you said earlier in the beginning, we saw them fight in the water with Godzilla going to the battleships, you know, Kong jumping away. I love that detail. He's jumping away from the one where Gia's at in order to try to make her be safe. But they end up in the water, as we all know. But we get to the city, right? But we never see, you know, Kong in his element, which is the jungle, right? Can everybody agree that that's Kong's, you know, natural habitat is the jungle?
Yeah, we never got to see them fight like on Skull Island or in a forest or in a jungle or somewhere where Kong would have home field advantage. It felt like Godzilla had home field advantage the whole movie because we were in the sea, which is his territory, and then Tokyo, which he knows the fucking layout of and destroys on the right.
It was Hong Kong.
It was Hong Kong, all right, you plebeian.
No, I know. I just wanted to make that joke because that's the joke that everyone makes. Godzilla was hopping around Tokyo City like a big playboy. All right, that's how the song goes.
I think Kong. They could have done more with Kong making use of the buildings, but he's kind of big. Like I wanted him to pick up a building and hit and just hit him with it.
There wasn't a scene where he swung him by his tail like in the original, but whatever.
Like Mario.
What I love, right, like Mario. Exactly. So one thing I can say though that I did think they did right was the agility that Kong possessed over versus what Godzilla had to possess, right? And that's what I always loved about this dynamic. Part of me disagrees that it should ever even have happened based on the narratives, but now that it did, and now that it has, the one thing that I like is that they didn't make Kong on Godzilla's physical level. See, Godzilla has the power advantage. He's got all these natural weapons, like Kong has intelligence, speed. He's really good, and he's environmentally resourceful. And I thought that was really an interesting dynamic for these two kaiju, and I love that they really played into that in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Well,
but there were just too many. There were too many interjections.
Specifically.
There were a lot of jokes and
the fights could have also been longer too, Alex. I agree with you.
So what I'd like to specify with the movies is if you count the fight scenes, so obviously the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong. The film has a 2-hour runtime. But the thing is, if you just take the parts of the movie where Godzilla
1 hour and 58 minutes.
Kong, 1 hour and 58 minutes. So, wow, 2 whole minutes shorter than I said. Thanks. Anyway, so if you just take the parts where Godzilla and Kong are actually fighting, the first fight is 5 minutes and the second fight is 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I researched this. I did the math. There are YouTube videos with the fight with health bars and the fight without human interruption. And people have already re-uploaded it 1,000,000 times to YouTube. You don't even have to buy the damn movie anymore. But what I'm getting at is if you cut out the human parts and the human dialogue, even if you leave in the human help, the first fight gets dropped to 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and the second fight gets dropped to 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which means that this movie that is literally called Godzilla vs. Kong and is hyped on the fact that there's going to be a definitive winner between these two kaiju, and all of these trailers and all this hype was built upon, the fight itself only lasts 8 minutes and some change, 7 minutes and some change, technically. So, literally the entire fight is 7 minutes and 56 seconds, and that's it. That's the entire, that's what everyone wanted.
And I agree with you. And I'll agree with you. That was kind of the problem that we had with Godzilla, the first movie, was that we wanted more Godzilla.
Godzilla didn't have enough screen time. He was only in the movie for 15 minutes.
Honestly, I will say, I think the way the fights are formatted in this particular film, the fight itself, I didn't do the numbers, so I can't give if you had done the numbers, if that's how long they were, they felt longer than that. And I think
exactly, and that was my only rebuttal.
Yeah,
because that was my only rebuttal for what Alex was saying. I was like, well, there's only so much they can do. There's so many. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Smash 12 buildings instead of 5? They're very limited. We got what we needed to see. A fight that was really heavy. I mean, they weren't throwing any, holding back any punches. They were throwing, home runs at each other early.
What were you gonna say, Josh? Sounds like you agreed with the
specifically when Evil McBad guy, the main scientist who was, I don't know what nationality they were trying for with his accent, European or something.
I'm going to assume Spanish and Russian.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. When he was making his monologue in the building as Robo Godzilla, I don't know, Mecha Godzilla, that's the one, was turning around after he became sentient or whatever, and he was turning around, he was monologuing, and it's like, I'm going to change that. I don't remember what the monologue was about, because it got cut short of him being like, BTFO. He just got killed in the middle.
He literally didn't finish his evil speech. Yeah. He was about to tell you what his plan was and everything, and then he got killed.
They made a joke about it right after he died. They're like, man, or Bernie was like, man, I wanted to hear the rest of his evil speech, and no one
cares about his evil speech.
Yeah,
okay, I will say,
literally he's about to explain Apex's
honestly,
entire motivation for the fucking movie, and instead of giving us that, they gave us a stupid joke that wasn't even fucking funny.
Yeah, exactly.
I will.
Exactly.
Okay. I see where you two are coming from.
Uh-huh.
This,
You do? Yeah.
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 Yes.
Also, what the
I
fuck
see.
was Bernie's? Let me just get this out real quick.
No,
and
no.
let you go. I promise.
Let Cole
Okay,
speak.
okay.
I want to hear this.
Okay, all right. Do your thing first, and then I'll do mine because it's unrelated.
Here's my big thing here. All right, look, I get where you two are coming from, and I do agree some of the jokes are unnecessary. But honestly, I kind of prefer just a more corny kind of film.
Same.
You know?
I'll agree with you.
You know?
I'm gonna hop on that
I know.
with you.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. What do you think, Will? You started with King of the Monsters. That one's kind of dark, but it's lighter than the first one. And Kong Skull Island's very light. What would you prefer it to have a darker tone or a lighter tone? I know. Again, I don't know. It's I can see the debate there, but what do you think?
For me personally, it's just I think that it was fine. I didn't really see the problem with the jokes. I didn't see a problem if it got darker. I did. Again, the human characteristics aren't why I go. So, frankly, I just watched that part. That's how I get to see a big monster again. So I don't focus really.
See,
so
yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
I use them as a stepping stool for plot.
Yeah, see, and my thing is like I just if I'm gonna watch this movie, I either want to see the humans fight like they did in Final Wars, or I want to see the humans be funny. That's honestly what I want. All right, because here's the thing: these are two giant monsters that are gonna be punching each other, and it's not just for this movie, but most of these. Now, let's say if Godzilla was the bad guy and he's the only monster in the movie. Okay, I want it to be a more serious film. But if I'm having Godzilla fight fucking like Megalon, Jet Jaguar, Kong, I'm okay with it a little bit more humorous. Now,
We
do
literally
agree.
opened up with a Shrek
Yeah.
scene, man.
Yeah. Okay. I turned. I saw this with
what?
I saw this with my friend Tan Man. I turned to him when that scene happened, and I said, "Major Shrek vibes," because it gave off Shrek vibes. And I was I the only one who thought that? I don't know. 'Cause,
Not at all.
I know a Will here
Not
is
at
a
all.
Shrek 2 enthusiast. Did you get Shrek vibes from that opening?
What do you mean? I'm confused.
Okay, you know the opening of the film where it's showing Kong in his like habitat or whatever. He's like waking up.
Yeah.
It reminded me
Yeah,
of like the
mean.
opening of Shrek 1 when he like
Right,
he's,
Yeah,
like-
or
his
he
butt
opened the
cheek.
door.
yeah, I got mad
No.
Shrek vibes from that. Oh my god, really? Okay, why?
I really
once
didn't.
told me.
Well, you didn't? That's interesting because I know everyone I talked to, I guess, had that. I guess I don't know. Will sometimes you do have some of the unpopular or different opinions, which I can respect. But I definitely got some Shrek vibes there.
Yeah.
Orange, what about you?
Yeah, I think everyone got Shrek vibes from that. He stood up, he scratched his ass, and then he took a shower in a swamp. You know, like
You know, one thing I can say is that, I think the reason why they decided to take a lighter approach is because these characters are intensely important. And I think that's more than the acting, more than just the fights, which I know this is going to sound ludicrous, right? More than the fights, more than anything else, I was like, how is the director going to have this happen with a definitive winner that doesn't capsize the franchise? How is he gonna lay this down in an acceptable, swallowable format for either Kong or Godzilla fans? And
Yeah,
I think he did
yeah.
a wonderful job.
That's a
Yeah, I just-
honestly that's a good point. Because when he said there was going to be a definitive winner, I was like, really? And I mean, I think there is personally. I do think watching the
There
movie. I
is.
think it's clear Godzilla's the winner between him and Kong. But he does come back. There is an argument to be had because Kong then helps him beat Mechagodzilla or whatever. I think at the end of the movie, though, even though Godzilla does win, I think they both kind of win because now Kong gets to live in Hollow Earth and be the king of that,
Exactly,
and Godzilla,
and
since
that's
he
what I
won,
thought was
gets to be
so
the king of the
intelligent.
monsters.
They established Kong as King Kong without actually having him have to beat Godzilla to earn that moniker. I thought that was
Yeah.
insane.
oh yeah, that narrative. That was a really good idea, bro.
It was
you got a
very
scene of him
clever.
sitting on the throne and everything.
Now, I will say, I know
Uh,
earlier, I think Alex, it was either Alex or Neon, one of you said the fight on the original one, King Kong vs. Godzilla from '62, the winner wasn't really definitive. See, I'd argue it was, because I know that movie ends. Godzilla and Kong fall into the ocean, and Kong's the only one that comes up. And
well, that's different for each movie. There's actually a Japanese and an American release where the victor is different.
Actually, I've done a lot of research into this, and I could confirm that is not actually true, sadly. There is a difference, though, and this is where this whole rumor started. I know the Cinemaster Monster Madness, he addressed it. I remember that was one of the first things I learned, actually, was about that double ending. In the Japanese version, at the very end, you hear Godzilla roar, and that signifies that he might be alive. At the end of the English version, you hear Kong roar. So that is where that rumor came from, which, if that was true, that would have been awesome if there was two endings. And maybe they filmed two endings, I don't know. But I think at the time that made sense, because Kong was definitely the more popular of the two at the time.
That's still... Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. I still... Like, they purposefully made the ending, like, the after-credit scene is different for both. So, like, the Japanese one obviously implies that Godzilla lived, and then the other one obviously implies that Kong,
is the winner.
defeated him and that he's done. So, like... I'm just, it is made out to be a bigger deal than it is. There is this huge misconception that they're literally different cuts of the film, but even though all we get is a roar, that's they did that on purpose.
Well, it's the same. I'm going to go ahead and do this, right? Do you remember, does anybody remember Freddy versus Jason, right? And in the ending, where Freddy winks, that's all I'll say.
That movie was so disappointing. I mean, it's a fun movie, but it's also like a bad movie. Like,
right. So you have this.
Remember when he hit that person, or he hit somebody with his fucking machete, and instead of them getting cut, they just fly like it was a baseball bat?
When they hit a tree. No. But I was just gonna say, so remember Freddy winking, and that was the tie that you wanted, Nobody went over, nobody got a hard victory. So I think that's what they meant by it was more of a tie, inarguable tie. But no, that's really cool. That's all.
I will, but I like it a lot. I think it's, but now that Godzilla, I say we give the win to Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong, and I think we should just go ahead and give King Kong the win in the original, because then they'd each win one movie. So now we just get a third movie to see who's the true winner.
Godzilla definitively, I think, wins. He literally, Kong literally has to stop and get help from the humans to survive.
So we have a moment where we have 3 rounds, right?
That first fight was BS and the humans' fault. That was unfair for Kong. He would not have been there naturally.
He was in the water.
That's why earlier I said that fight gave me a heart attack, because I was nervous. I was like, what's he gonna do?
So there's
what can he do?
So there's 3 instances in that first scene. So this is where I think I shine right here in terms of being brought to this discussion, is because it's best 2 out of 3, and I was like, okay, I know what they're going for. So the first one, right, I noticed 3 instances when I watched the movie where Godzilla could have had him, right? 2 of them were arguable, and then the other one was, I thought, very, very, almost fair, right? So we didn't have dry land, so that we're going to take that away from points from Godzilla, but he was still agile enough to jump from battleship to battleship. I love the way that Godzilla flies up out of the water. He's just so angry. He just flies up out of the water. He crawls on his belly like, I don't know, a gigantic Dorito chip, and then immediately gets punched in the face. And then
I've
the
never
slap,
heard that
and then
analogy.
he stomps on Kong's chest, and he could have ended the fight right there, is what they implied. And that was I'm like, well, that's technically a flat surface, right? I mean, Kong even started that off with a strong punch to the jaw, then just got bear pawed and then stomped on, and he would have died right there. So I'm like, okay, I see what they're going for here. Despite that first little encounter, I was like, I see what they're doing.
Awesome. But I will say, anyway, before we move on, I want to just ask, does anyone else, any other things you would like to discuss regarding this movie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what would you like to say, Josh?
I'm not the monster movie man. I come and go to the franchise, but according to Cole, the last movie, Godzilla fought Ghidorah and Rodan, right, or whatever. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, they had the skull of Rodan. And now I already
Yeah.
talked to Cole about this previously.
No,
but
Ghidorah.
Yoda
It was
monster
Ghidorah.
It was the
Yeah.
Ghidorah skull, and that's actually so we can argue that Mechagodzilla was being
Ghidorah.
piloted by Ghidorah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because did he get possessed by the blue man juice from the center of the earth, or was he being
No,
possessed
he was
by
possessed by
See,
Ghidorah,
Ghidorah's
that's
soul?
by
Okay.
Dagon.
Honestly, though, that is a good question because they don't really specify it. I know you messaged me after that. That after you finished the movie and you got there, Josh.
God, you guys are bringing up really good points.
Yeah, I think I definitely I feel like Ghidorah somehow was controlling him or something. At least
So
maybe
the way
compelled
that
by.
it was explained that I picked up was that it was through the necks. So basically, the main head and one head kind of is in cahoots, like telepathically with the other, so that they know what they're talking and saying and what they have to say without actually communicating in a verbal way, right? And so they're saying that they used the hollowed out remainder of Ghidorah's skull in order to create a telepathic connection to the Mechagodzilla body, right?
Oh,
And then we
see,
had
I
Ren
forgot
Sarazawa.
I forgot the Ghidorah heads were all telepathically connected. Okay, that
Yeah,
actually makes a
they
lot
just
more
explained
sense.
that. That's why I was
Yeah.
thinking that. But
Okay.
it only
So,
really
I,
happened after they put in the blue juice.
So does anybody remember the giant Godzilla fossilization where Kong retrieves the axe from Hollow Earth? Do you know who that character is? Anybody know?
There
Anybody
was
here
a
know?
character there. Wait,
yeah,
what?
I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about either.
Yo, I know where he's going with this.
So there's a giant. So you know in the core of Middle Earth where it's powered into this main supply, and why Apex wanted to get to Middle Earth was so they could have enough energy from the core of Middle Earth to power Mechagodzilla, right? That was Apex's evil plan. Does anybody
Yeah.
remember the giant blue fossilization of that Godzilla-like dinosaur that's curled up around the core of Hollow Earth near the axe?
Is this more of an Easter egg thing? Because I did not pick up
It
on
is.
this on
It
my
is.
first
It
viewing.
is. It is an
Okay.
Easter egg. That is Dagon. If anybody knows who that is, then props
From
to you.
Skyrim?
It's
From
not an
Mortal
Easter
Kombat?
egg, That's not
From
an
Dungeons
Easter egg,
and
that's the main
Dragons?
plot point. So in the very first Godzilla movie, they specify that there's another skeleton of a Godzilla-like creature, and then they imply heavily that Godzilla wasn't the first Godzilla. And then in this film, we see Kong finding the remnants of people of his own race and other Godzilla-esque skeletons, implying that there are way more of Godzilla's race before him. He wasn't the first one.
Right.
And Dagon was we don't know if he's the first, but he's stated to be the strongest. He was the largest ever recorded, and he was killed by Muto Prime.
Right. So there's a lot of backstory stuff this is why I knew me and Alex would be perfect. We know a lot of backstory
Was that in
stuff
the
that isn't on
IDW
screen.
comics? Because I do know there's comic tie-ins.
Yes,
to these
there
movies.
is.
Okay,
So there is
that's where that's from.
So there is a comic where Godzilla actually recognizes Muto Prime, and it almost implies that he has a personal connection with Dagon, which makes me think that Dagon is his father and that they're directly related.
There you go.
So there's this huge theory that like Dagon is Godzilla's father, and he was killed by Muto Prime, and his atomic power fizzling out and him entering his nuclear state is what created Hollow Earth. And that happened thousands of years ago because current Godzilla was alive during Egyptian.
So here is the thing, though, right? Did you notice the size? It was at least 3 to 4 times bigger than current Godzilla or Kong, and that's another reference to Godzilla Earth.
Oh, I know. Okay, that's the anime trilogy. Isn't it?
Yeah,
why do I gotta read the manga?
They're implying
Why I gotta read the manga? No, there's 3 for the audience. For those that don't know, there's actually 3 anime Godzilla films on Netflix. It's a trilogy, and in that Godzilla, it's I think it takes place like 20,000 years in the future or something. And Godzilla is like super. It's like he's the biggest he's ever been. Like,
right.
You can see him from space.
So are you guys ready for my Easter egg? Because I'm gonna make you guys just like freak out.
Well, I also wanted to mention one thing before we moved on how big Dagon would actually have to be if he was at least 3 times bigger. So I know the direct measurements of these two, right? So Godzilla stands at around 393 to about 4 feet, and Kong relatively the same. Therefore, if Dagon would be about 2 to 3 times bigger, roughly we'll say 3, since he dwarfed Kong, he would be 1,176 feet in the air from his feet to his head. Just a little tidbit for you.
Okay.
Also, they released that Kong's height is actually 363 feet, so he is a tad shorter than Godzilla in this one.
That's good.
Yeah.
Clarify that. Yep. They didn't make it obvious in the movie because there's a couple scenes where they seem to stand at the same height, but they also both crouch. So
And also say that would make Dagon the largest Godzilla ever, even over Godzilla Earth.
I need to check out the comics because I know these comics are canon to these movies.
Yeah,
they are. Check them out.
They are
I need
canon
to check them out.
MonsterVerse.
But,
Yeah. So
but that's a neat Easter egg, though. I do feel like you probably don't have to like read the comics to understand this stuff, but because I'm sure if they talk about Dagon, they'd probably they'd explain it in the movie, I assume, because there's a lot of people that don't read the comics. But I need to check
Easter
it out.
egg is so painfully obvious that you guys are gonna feel bad for not knowing it. So
Was Anguirus in the movie? I've been waiting
no.
for him.
Dude, I think everyone is. So, well, first, I'd like to. I have a lot of theories about the movie. I'm not going to go into all of them now. So maybe we should make a second. We should make a second podcast at some point just about our theories, because I'm sure that can make an episode of its own. But
maybe we could do one on your channel,
You ain't
just a
gonna
video
become
about it.
conspiracy theorist.
I'd love that sometime. So what I'm saying is that so there's actually 2 more movies in this franchise, or at least there will be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys
I hope.
are familiar with the basics: Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong. That's 4. Well, there's 2 more, right? So the reason that Mechagodzilla appears the way that he does in the film, and the reason that Apex's origin is left open-ended is on purpose, because the creator of the MonsterVerse is still in deep negotiation and is trying very heavily to purchase the rights to Pacific Rim. He wants Pacific
That
Rim
too?
to be
I heard
canonically
that.
part of
Yeah.
the MonsterVerse. And he's
That-
very
that- that-
close. They've already made an agreement. They've already signed several contracts. He has literally been given everything but the document stating that he has the legal rights. So it's gonna happen. Pacific Rim 3 is already planned, and the after credit scene is supposed to have a MonsterVerse tie-in.
Yeah.
It's supposed to reference Godzilla. So Pacific Rim is going to be part of the MonsterVerse, and that's why Mechagodzilla failed. They're going to dig into the whole plot point that, you have to have 2 pilots for a mech that big.
And you want to know what's really cool as another reference too? Is for a mech that big, there was 2 pilots, referencing the fact that Ghidorah and Ren Serizawa are 2 separate consciousness.
That's true.
They were both running Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, Josh.
There's a ghost
I know,
machine.
you might have not knew that, but yeah, that's actually a very there's a rumor that's going around. They're looking into doing a Godzilla Pacific Rim crossover. My only thing is I don't know how they would fully do it because timeline wise it doesn't really work.
Well,
Isn't
I imagine
Pacific Rim like in the far future, distant future? I don't know.
I think
well,
it's not that it's in the distant future. I think the issue is correct me if I'm wrong. I think the world went through some apocalyptic event.
Australia has been lost
before the events of Godzilla vs. Kong take place on Earth or whatever.
How they
So I
gonna
feel
do
like
that?
they could introduce characters from Pacific Rim and kind of rewrite them to work in that universe. I don't know. It is confusing. That's something I am hopeful though, because that would be an awesome movie.
Well, I think what they're going to do
Be a better game.
It's going to be
Yes, it would.
so another thing is that obviously there are several characters in the Godzilla canon that can open up the possibility to alternate universes and stuff. So really all they have to do is introduce Space Godzilla and then we have an excuse. So so we can just say that that's a different universe, or that's the future and those events have yet to happen. There's plenty of ways we could explain it away. But what I'm getting at is that Apex sets up for Pacific Rim to be part of the franchise. And furthermore, I hope that they make Jet Jaguar a suit that someone pilots, and that human has a strong bond with Godzilla, because that would make so much sense.
And that's what I was thinking. Either Ren Serizawa is going to come back as Kiru, a better, more modified and better harnessed and controlled Mechagodzilla, or we could make him Jet Jaguar. So anybody who doesn't know Ren Serizawa's character. Right, I know, right? So anybody who doesn't know Ren Serizawa's character, does anybody remember the first Godzilla movie? Let them fight.
Yeah, I know him. Also. Is he his son? Because I noticed the names, but I didn't know if they were related.
Why is his son?
Why is he an asshole then? Why is he an asshole then? Because his dad was so cool.
Because he probably believes that his father was killed by Godzilla.
Dang.
Yeah, he literally thinks that Godzilla just killed his dad. He doesn't have context.
And his dad
I
is the
will
one,
say-
you know, for if you've seen King and the Monsters, Ren Sarazawa's dad, you know, Mr. Sarazawa kills himself to rejuvenate Godzilla in the second
See,
Godzilla movie.
I think what Alex said, they're bringing up the Pacific Rim crossover. That
Mhm.
brings us to a perfect transition. On Twitter, there was the continue the MonsterVerse hashtag that went viral. I believe a day or two after the movie came out. People saying we want more. You know, and I think people are doing this because one more hadn't been confirmed yet, right? And then at the same time, people were nervous because COVID. We didn't know how that was going to affect ticket sales, which the movie's done really well despite COVID, which is really cool. But anyway, so people push for it, and then the official legendary, you know, the studio that does these films, did a post on Twitter saying, I think they said, wow, or something about the MonsterVerse. They're referencing that hashtag. I think we're gonna get more movies now. I think that's what the final question related to Godzilla vs. Kong before we get to the more discuss the minor stuff, right? What do you want to see in the future? I'm gonna go first on this because I already have it all planned out. Let me just say.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
I want another Godzilla movie, obviously. I think it'd be cool if in the next one he deals with a Mothra's egg, because I do think they hinted that there's a Mothra egg still around. Now I don't know who he would fight. I just think we should get another Godzilla solo.
Godzilla versus Batra. Gimme.
It's also confirmed that Mothra's going to get her own solo movie.
Yeah, they already said that Mothra was going to get a prequel film all about her origins.
I do know that's been rumored. Yeah, Mothra actually does have quite a few Japanese films, so I wouldn't be surprised if she got a solo. I think the reason they haven't done it is because they're nervous how she would do on her own in America. But I thought the Mothra they had in the King of Monsters was
I'm
really
confident in Mothra. All right, I'm confident in her.
Yeah. But I also would love. Okay, so we get a new Godzilla. Next Kong movie, call it King Kong. If you give it that title, I'm good. So do another solo Kong movie and just call it King Kong. I think that'd be awesome.
I actually know who I want Kong to fight next.
No, but let me tell you,
If
this is the best.
Kind of Kong, I'm leaving.
Oh my god, no! This is what I want though, and if anyone disagrees with me, they're just wrong statistically. I want Legendary to go to Japan and get the rights for this character. Because because they got the rights to Toho, they got the rights to Godzilla from Toho and the rights of Kong from Universal, right? They got this rights to these characters. They could cross them over because people forget, you know, these are different studios or whatever, right? Godzilla versus Gamera. It's about damn
I'm
time.
so happy you said that. Please, can Gamera please be in the MonsterVerse? Please.
But do we really want to see Gamera lose?
Oh boy, no.
Dude,
They'd make it. I guarantee you he would win. I guarantee you that he would end up winning, even if it made sense or not. I can see it happening. I know. Okay, and I'm being serious. I do think that is the next place to go because Godzilla vs. Kong was like an awesome rematch, but Godzilla has never fought Gamera, and I think that'd be an awesome crossover.
Godzilla versus Gamera was considered, but
I did know that.
They cut it because the creators of they had like a narrative disagreement, so they wanted Gamera to be a minor villain for Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and have him be killed off and wash up on shore at the beginning of the film. And the creators of Gamera were like, "No, we're not going to do this film unless Gamera is the main big bad. Absolutely not." And so they gave him.
But they also wanted him to win.
They gave him the turtle kaiju from the space amoeba instead. What's his name? Canamoebus. They made him wash up on shore in Gamera's place because it was the only other turtle kaiju they had available. Yeah. And they wanted to showcase that Godzilla was fighting other kaiju in the water because the water was his domain. So
this is during the Kiryu saga. For people that don't, because there's many Mechagodzilla films.
And there's
tons.
Godzilla was Godzilla Jr. Just throwing that out there.
That's so like you could debate that.
I completely agree that we need to see Gamera. I adore Gamera as a character and a kaiju. We've never seen it before, and since we're getting our crossover with Pacific Rim, which is the first time that's ever happened. The beautiful thing about the MonsterVerse that people are neglecting is everyone wants to see remakes of the old movies that they loved. Everyone wants to see Mothra versus Batra. People are whining about how Ghidorah should have came back as Mechaghidorah instead of Mechagodzilla and all kinds of shit, right? Well,
Yeah.
my perspective is that we need to see new shit. We need to see
I
things
agree
that
with you, Alex.
we've never
Yeah.
seen
I agree
before.
with you,
We need to
100%,
resurrect
Alex.
the
I
kaiju
agree with
that
you.
no one's ever even heard Godzilla be thrown in the ring for a debate before. Like,
You know-
we
you know,
need to get
it-
people that we've never owned the rights to while we're making this box office money.
Now, no, I will tell you that there is one remake I want though, and this is how I would, because I would actually Godzilla vs. Gamera I wouldn't treat as the end of this quote unquote second phase of the MonsterVerse. I think the last one should be a remake of Destroy All Monsters and Final Wars, and
could you
get to see,
imagine
you
if,
see
like,
Godzilla, Kong, Gamera, all the villains we've seen so far.
That's what I was
bunch
about
of
to
old
say. Like,
villains,
imagine,
and
like,
and instead of fighting King Ghidorah as the final boss, it's Destroya.
Dude, so like imagine like Godzilla's getting fucked up by Destroya, and then like he does the alpha call that Ghidorah does, right? And then
Yes.
Mothra flies in and drops Kong, and then Kong throws a shell, like the blue shell from Mario Kart, and it's Gamera, and he decks Destroya in the side of the face. And then Jet
Dude,
Jaguar comes out of nowhere and like karate kicks him in the fucking throat. Oh my
Like,
god.
I'm imagining the Avengers Endgame portal scene, but with kaiju. Like, that's my idea for a. That would be so badass.
That's what Destroy All Monsters was like in the comics. Dude, even Zilla helped Godzilla
Yes,
fight.
bring the '98 Godzilla back too. Zilla, bring him. Let's bring
Exactly.
everybody.
They
The only
literally- he
issue with
was
this
there
is
to help
I know
fight Destroya.
the only issue is I think Toho would need to lower the prices of the monsters because based
They
on
even
what we
did.
know in King of the Monsters, the reason that only Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Moth, and Rodan were in there, and because they, there's other monsters they were in the movie, but they were new original ones. The reason they didn't have any other old monsters is because they cost so fucking much to get from Toho.
Exactly, and the director said, like, of King of the Monsters, like, would you rather see a bunch of old monsters and have piss poor, monster fights, or would you say new original monsters with
Yeah.
badass monster fights?
See, I think Toho should lower the price in that regard because I would love that.
Exactly, and I think that if Toho doesn't, the creator's already made it clear that he'll just buy kaiju from other smaller franchises. He's already shown interest in Pacific Rim. He's already stated that there are other monster movies that are more recent that he's interested in. He entertained the idea of crossing over Rampage, which I'm not sure if he didn't say he was going to. He just said he was open to it because who
Yeah,
doesn't want
I
to work
think
with
he
The
said
Rock?
he's
Am I right? But like my point being that if Toho denies him, he already has the rights to Godzilla, and that's all you fucking need, dude. That'd be
I will
like
say this.
until they
if
run
I got
out.
the rights-
Until they run out. Until they run
Oh,
out. 'Cause I think he's got it
of
for a limited
course.
time. The studio does, at least. Not him, I guess. You know what I mean, though. It's still all the same. He pretty much has it, because the studio's going to let him do what he wants at this point, after how successful this film is.
Well, it was a multi-year contract, so and he said that it's not going to expire for a couple more years. So I would imagine that we've got it at least 2025, and that's a long
Yeah.
time. That's at least 3 more movies.
So,
See, I
so
think
here's
that's the
thing,
reason we
though.
never got another Shin Godzilla, is I think Toho's
Yes.
nervous to have 2 Godzilla franchises going on at the same time, which is kind of a travesty. I do wish we did get more Japanese Godzilla films like Shin Godzilla. And
I agree with you
but
100%.
I can see why. I
Also-
can see why.
Destroyer, right? Does anybody remember in King of the Monsters what injured Godzilla was? An oxygen destroyer bomb.
Yeah,
which is the very
oxygen
same bomb
destroyer.
that there you go. So Destroyer,
they've already built
is
it in.
absolutely canon.
And then in Godzilla vs Kong, you see these little crab creatures starting to grow out of the ground
Yes.
in Hollow Earth. Yeah.
So
All right. Well, I
So,
will
yes.
say, us three, me, Alex, and Neon, we're a big monster fans. So obviously, we had a lot to say regarding the
Yeah, you
our
think?
future for a movie. Now, Josh and Will, you two, Josh, you haven't got into it much, and Will, you're a more recent fan. But what would you
I think
two
he died
want to see?
actually.
You
I
guys,
DM'd him and he didn't respond to me.
because you two have
Oh.
different, I don't know, guys have different perspectives on it. So I'm curious to see what you guys would want to see next, if you want to see more.
I
that's-
think that they've kind of written themselves into a corner. Maybe I don't know like what the power scaling of the kaiju movies is, and I really don't care to right now. But Ghidorah was like the big man, right? Isn't he the big man in like the classical series?
No.
Yeah.
They
he's been
actually
a
made
big
him
man a
nice.
couple of times.
All right. Well,
Really?
either
It kind
way.
of
Beat him up.
depends.
But
Yeah, it kind of depends.
and then he
I
fought the
think.
robot that had his soul and like.
Well,
The-
But
Ghidorah's never.
see, Destroya is like Satan.
Okay, if he's the next bigger man, then he can fight him.
Yeah, Destroyer would box. He'd destroy with body. You know, I want to say box.
No,
Say he would body Ghidorah.
Well, Destroya won in the original Godzilla vs. Destroya movie. He fucking murders Godzilla. So.
Well, okay, that's cool and all, but I don't really know what I'd want for another one. I like the big monster fight, but.
How about this? Do you want more?
Yeah,
No monsters
sure.
fighting.
As long as
There
it's
you go.
less Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh my god! Let me just
Really
get this
bummed
out,
out.
and then we can stop talking about this movie. But like,
Sure,
what the
please.
fuck was with Bernie's introduction? They made him this serious, crazy, sad character. He's like, oh well,
My
I've been
wife is
following.
dead.
I've snuck into this secret government agency, and I've been studying them for years. And my poor wife, she died before we could figure out what was going on, and I miss her every day. God rest her soul. I kept some of her favorite whiskey in case I ever just want to blow my goddamn brains out. And then he's immediately like, and now I'm going to be Donkey from Shrek. That's a big
Yes.
monster.
That's right. That's who he reminds me of.
Bro,
Oh
he-
Also,
my
I'm sad
God.
they dissed
What?
my man Tapwater.
they introduced him in such a
My
serious
man,
depressing
tap
way.
water.
And the rest of the movie, he just cracked jokes like everything was okay. Like, we never even found out what his motivation for spying on Apex was, or how his wife even died.
No, okay,
Is it
I'll
something
remedy
to do
this
with
way.
Apex?
I'll remedy it this way. I guarantee you we're going to see more Gia. There's a chance that means that we'll see other returning characters.
Yes,
so maybe we'll
please. Give me,
figure it out.
give me
Yeah.
the Bernie spinoff.
Bring
Yeah,
Bryan
maybe-
Cranston back from the
He's
dead.
just Alex Jones, but with Godzilla.
I want
Oh,
them
he's
to
like,
release
hey,
the
he's
gonna
actual
do the
podcast.
camera guy, man.
Dude,
Yes,
he's like,
I want to see that
he's like-
podcast too.
I'd be so down. They could release that and as
Yeah.
just like a joke real
Gander and
podcast
Bernie
on
to the
Spotify.
rescue, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
that which is kind of funny. I cannot believe we haven't even mentioned that. The fact he did run a podcast, and we're in a podcast right now. That's kind of funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
Oh my
no,
god.
he's a fellow
Shut up, Cole.
podcaster. We have to respect the man.
Oh, by the way, guys, just disclaimer: Godzilla is not rogue. Just wanted to say that on our podcast for anyone listening.
Oh yeah, yeah. I will
I don't
say,
know
okay,
what you just said.
Will, what would you want to see in the future? I know you've done. I'm pretty sure you've done some research into things, so you know a bit more than Josh. But I don't know. Do you just want to see more monster fights? Do you want to see Godzilla and Kong have a rematch? What would make you happy?
Godzilla versus Gamera. Godzilla versus
No,
Biolance.
we need to see if he's awake.
No, I know. I was just gonna say, there's so many possibilities. I'm
Yeah.
buying time to see if he's awake. Are you awake? Please tell me you're awake.
Oh god, Will pieced out. Fuck.
No, I just
Oh,
was going to
oh,
let
oh.
you guys answer the question.
No.
Oh, there you
okay.
No.
He's back. He's back.
He's so salty.
Okay,
Oh,
he's
Will.
back.
I'm so sorry. Will.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
All right. All right. So
He's
anyway,
like on the
what would
shitter with his
Let
pants
him
down,
go. Let him
trying to
speak.
get
Shut up.
Let us speak. All right. Well,
No,
what?
I forgot
well-
the question now. I haven't been listening this whole time. My
Oh
God.
my god.
Damn, my heart.
What do you
But,
want to
what
see in
do
the
you-
future, Will?
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I've just like totally lost interest.
What do you want to see? Just answer the question.
Answer the question.
Shut up.
Okay.
What do you want to see in the future, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, now he really is dead.
We just got Godzilla versus Kong. We don't need to know about what's in the future. I don't care.
Yes, we
I do.
Okay, that's an answer.
We
Let's
need to
move on.
know.
Let's
All right,
move on.
all right.
All
I'll
right.
let
We can
someone
move
else
on.
answer for me. We're good at that.
All right,
I mean-
let's go to the second point. Yeah.
Let's
All
go to the
right,
second
so-
points, yes.
Now
So
we've
can I-
entered the minor
can I-
points.
Can I introduce the second point? Because
No, it's Cole's podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce it because I'm gamer. I'm alpha
Sure.
gamer.
He's
minus
player
the
one.
M.
Uh huh.
No one. got that. I'm sorry.
Funny. More leaks for Spider-Man 3 or No Way Home. And I can't say I'm surprised. We talked about this last week. There was leaks last week. There's leaks again this week. Tobey Maguire's Spanish voice actor just came out and said he's in the movie, and the interview that he said that in has been deleted. It's an interesting fact. And then there's allegedly there's just some picture that's released, and it's it's the logo of the film, and it has all the people that worked on it. They had signed it, right? And allegedly, you can see Alfred Molina and Tobey Maguire's signatures, which I've looked at. I think those are their signatures, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
you can make
we
out
could
a
be-
clear
we-
Toby.
Yeah. Alfred Molina's a bit debatable. I still think it's him. I will say we're probably looking too much into it because I feel like if they are in the movie, they probably wouldn't even be on there. So it's possible that Someone just has a
There's-
similar look. But I will say at this point, I know it's yeah, Toby's probably gonna be in the movie. Andrew Garfield's probably gonna be in the movie. You know.
Yeah,
just
they
announced
released
it.
pictures of them on set, doing doing the poses with Tom Holland and.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Being
Andrew
fitted for
Garfield.
suits and stuff.
Yeah, I know Toby. There's a picture of Toby going to a fitting from a few months ago. That was like, oh, why is he
Yeah.
getting costume fitting?
And then there's a
And then,
picture of like
Andrew
Andrew
Garfield's,
Garfield crouched down doing Spider-Man poses with Tom Holland.
I think it was his stunt double, but regardless, it's still someone who's only worked with Andrew Garfield. So that's for mostly, I think. So that pretty much. So I feel like all the signs are point to them being in the movie. I'm just, I think it's more of, it's pretty much like, I would be safe saying I'm 99% sure it's going to happen. I mean, there's always a chance it won't. They haven't announced it officially. I think that's important.
I'm just upset because I genuinely cannot think of a single black person that could accurately portray Miles Morales right now. Like, there's just
Donald Glover again.
You think?
I think
really?
Donald Glover would have
I
been
love
great.
Donald Glover.
I mean, Donald Glover is good. I'll give you that. Does he fit?
Now,
You think
I
he
will
fit
say
him?
the issue with Donald Glover at the moment is he is already in the MCU and he plays Miles' uncle, which is cool already. Like, I'm excited for those interactions to come when we get to that point. But I'm curious to see who they could do with Miles. Honestly, I'm fine if they get a new unknown actor, because I think generally those are the best choices for superhero films. I think it's always great to go for the unknowns.
Ben, if they want to make
Do you think he will be in the movie? I think that's probably a good question, because I mean, it is Spider-Verse, but it's Miles Morales. It's Spider-Verse, but it's a different take on Spider-Verse, right? It's a different Spider-Verse story.
Well, yeah, different. Yeah.
We
aren't going to have Spider-Hog, sadly.
I feel like it's going to be a big missed opportunity if we don't get Venom in this one, because Tom Hardy's already leaked that they've hired someone to play Spider-Man, and Tom Holland just can't keep his damn mouth shut. So
they're gonna
let's hope
it's
that we
gonna
see a
happen
Venom
eventually.
as well, because I really want to see Tom Hardy play Agent Venom specifically. I think he'd fit
if they're going to make a movie to do it, to say, hey, we're opening up the Spider world, and this is the one. Because if they're already going to bring in the two other Spider dudes, then they might as well bring in all 5 of them. Venom's not a Spider dude, but you know what I mean.
Well, we're 5 movies deep, and we don't have a Doc Ock or a Green Goblin yet. What the fuck's going on?
That's true. They're using every villain.
So they're multiversing them. See, I think what they're doing is they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
speeding up the building of the Sinister Six, and I think that's why they're pulling like Jamie Foxx's Electro and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, and I think this is, again, it's a shortcut for us to actually have a Sinister Six already, because those characters are kind of already built up. I know Jamie Foxx is going to kind of be a different take based on the rumors, but it's still, the character still is kind of built up, I feel like they can get away with that.
I just don't want us to get into a main Avengers cast situation. Like, most of Iron Man's villains never got introduced to the MCU. Like Fin Fang Foom, the Mandarin was like a joke, didn't actually happen. They hinted that he does exist somewhere, but it was never brought up again. And they announced that they didn't have plans for it after the killing off of Iron Man. None of his villains are really touched upon.
Well, with Mandarin, at least, we're kind of lucky. I think he's going to be in Shang-Chi. I think they have confirmed that. So we're going to actually see him.
So we are
I thought Fin Fang Foom was a Dora antagonist. It sounds like one.
It does sound like one. And then same issue with Hulk, right? Hulk, none of his villains were really introduced either. We got 2, and then he took a backseat, and now he's Professor Hulk, and his character arc is over, and they don't have anything else.
And they were considering, believe it or not, they're actually they were going to consider killing him off at one point. In the future.
Here's the problem: Universal
for She-Hulk.
For some unbeknownst reason, Universal is like afraid of making a Hulk movie, because Hulk can be used in the MCU, but Universal still has the rights to Hulk movies, right?
I'll say this, since I've been a Hulk fan for
know.
like 20 years or whatever. I've been a Hulk fan my whole life. I'll say this, and I'll make it brief since this is about Spider-Man. I was gonna say, I get why they're not doing individual Hulk movies, and I don't want anybody here to think that I'm not a fan of the idea of them introducing She-Hulk in the future. But why would you kill off the Incredible Hulk and then just mainstay She-Hulk? Why wouldn't you just have them be a duo? That's my only complaint. Anyways, moving forward.
They better not. If they kill Incredible Hulk off, I will be. If they kill Hulk off, I'll be disappointed.
I also wanted to bring up that they killed off Black Widow before Taskmaster was introduced, which means that he's going to have to be a Spider-Man villain if he gets introduced at all. But he was intended to be a Black Widow villain.
he is actually going to be in the Black Widow movie. But that was
Okay,
a prequel.
cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right. So,
yeah, and he's in the
great.
trailer actually. It's so they are doing it. It's just a prequel.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer yet because I'm trying to avoid spoilers for that movie because they're everywhere. There's already a bunch of leaks for that one.
Well, sorry about that. I mean, I guess
you're totally cool. You didn't tell me what happens in the trailer, so we're good. Just the problem with Marvel movies is they always give away like the key plot details in the fucking trailers all the time, every time.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I think
like all the trailers for the
War are probably
Avengers,
the only ones that didn't.
Yeah. Like all the trailers for the original Avengers movie were just, oh look at how good Loki's gonna invade New York, guys. Final battle of the movie.
There you go. But yeah, back to Spider-Man 3 though. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Toby's Andrew probably gonna be in it at this point. You know, I could keep beating the dead horse all day, but let's move on. This one we probably won't talk about long because I'm surrounded by people that hate Sonic. There's a remaster rumor for Sonic Colors. There's an HD remaster that has been leaked by a German website. It's called German Studio IK Samples.
Right. Hold his hand, Alex. Hold his hand.
That studio is actually known for localization. So people are thinking that there's actually a Sonic Colors remake in the works. Based off that. Games have leaked this way before, so I'm curious to see it. Hopefully this means we'll get a Steam release, so we get some Colors mods. Because the thing is, honestly, I think Colors and Unleashed need to come to PC, because they are missing out on the whole modding scene, and it's a travesty they're not there.
Wonderful. Those are both wonderful games. Fans often refer to them as Sonic Adventures 3 and 4, because of how much they are loved in this community.
Pretty much,
and I would love to see that.
Because in reality,
I think
Sonic
this is a huge possibility because of the Sonic Restoration Project being announced at last year's E3, and then being like, we have plans to remake the original Sonic Adventure. So if we're getting a remake of Sonic Adventure, and we're getting a remake, it would make sense for them to remake Sonic Colors as well, since there's a lot of like minor glitches and minor animation issues in that game. So like. Yeah,
based off the rumor, though, it seems it's going to be a remaster more than a remake.
Yeah.
So, like, it'd be an upgrade.
Yeah. So then, based off of previous information, this makes a lot of sense. I could totally see them doing this. Let's get Sonic Colors on the PS5, guys. Come on. And PC, please.
Yeah. I really do want Steam releases.
While we're on the subject of Sonic, just gonna toss out that 3 weeks ago, the teaser trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 dropped. It's going to be a good movie.
It did?
Tails and Knuckles
I didn't
confirmed.
Even know that.
You know,
well, I do know
Knuckles
is pretty much all but confirmed. There was a lot of leaks regarding that. I know Tails, obviously, he was in the last one.
The director of the film already stated that he was trying to find an actor to play Knuckles. So, like, if that doesn't confirm that he's going to be in the movie,
Jason Momoa. They're interested in getting Jason Momoa to play Knuckles. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that, but
the 3 actors they named that they wanted to play the role of Knuckles are Jason Momoa, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and the third one I believe was what's his name? The big
Samuel
guy.
L. Jackson?
Not
Dave
Samuel L.
Bautista?
Jackson. The big buff dude that's in.
There's many of them. There's many of them.
Alex. Is Deer in the Gray?
Not.
Is it gonna? Come on, who is it? What's he look like?
Chris Hemsworth. That's his
There
name.
you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've heard.
I should have just said Thor.
I've definitely
Honestly,
heard The Rock and Jason Momoa thrown around, which, you know, it'd be interesting.
So-
I'd prefer if it wasn't as someone big. I'd prefer if it was an unknown actor, or they just got the game Knuckles. But it's you know, it is what it is, right? Speaking of Sonic, though, it's a great transition. We are officially getting an all digital E3 this year. It'll be happening because I know last year's was canceled, and then so the last one we really had was 2019.
This is the end of our Sonic news, though, because sorry, boys, but Sega has already dropped out, and so has Sony. So no Sonic news whatsoever. EA has also dropped out as well, but we know why EA dropped out. They were planning on releasing another Star Wars game, but that was canceled because they lost the licensing rights to Star Wars. So nothing from EA this year either.
See, I think honestly, I think it's more this. Okay, here's the case. So far for E3, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Warner Bros, and Coach Media, they've all been confirmed to be there. There's always last-minute additions, and I think based off 2019, Sony and EA didn't go to that one, because I think they've been doing their own shows, too. they haven't really focused on it. They just do it around the same time. And then Sega went to 2019, so it's an interesting absence here, especially because Sega's not just Sega, it's also, you got Atlas built in there, you got a Platinum and all that, so it's a weird absence. So maybe if Sega has announcements, they're just gonna do it through the other companies. That's always a possibility because they are third party. But we'll see. Sega could always show up last second. I do hope this doesn't mean we're not getting any Persona news this year or any, like, that would suck. When I say Persona news, I don't mean Persona 6. I mean like ports or a fighting game or whatever. Because that would be very disappointing. I know me and Josh really want Persona 5 Arena.
Yeah. Me and Neon got really excited because the very first thing that both of us looked at was Konami, and we were like, "Oh my God, is there going to be a new Silent Hill game? Please."
Well,
I know that's the
okay,
big thing everyone's been wanting.
Dude, you know what? I've been waiting. So I know. Okay, I'm a Hill buff. I won't be long about it. I promise. But like, so we remember. Does anybody remember? Silent Hills with that. What's his name? He plays. He's on The Walking Dead. He plays the guy with the crossbow. I'm having a brain fart. Oh God, he's Jesus Christ, right on the spot. What was his name? It's Daryl Dixon. Yeah, what's his real name?
Oh, his real name. Was he in was he in Death Stranding?
I think he was. Yeah, actually, I think he was. Do you know the name?
See, I know him. I know who you're talking about, and I'm sure the audience probably knows who you're talking about, but I don't know the name of the actor.
Daryl Dixon was supposed to be in a canceled video game called Silent Hills, and it got canceled. It was destroyed, right?
I remember that. Yeah, Silent Hills.
When that one Kojima wanted to do.
I was so excited for that. Yeah, that's the last thing Kojima was working on before he got kicked.
Yes, and so we had this whole big deal, right? Where then we just got the I think it was Silent Hill PT, and that's all we got. Do you remember how revolutionary the Silent Hill PT? Like everybody played it, Markiplier played it. Yeah, Silent Hill PT was a demo where you go into the room and it's the same room, but the room slightly changes. Then that concept, and horror games.
I think I've seen that before in a video or something. It sounds vaguely
familiar. Markiplier got a lot of popularity for playing the shit out of that. So I'm just really excited for that. I wouldn't know if it would be a continuation of Silent Hills or what, but I'm hoping for something on it.
But the last 3 Silent Hill projects have been canceled, so at least just let us know that it hasn't been thrown in the garbage like Banjo and Kazooie.
Don't even get me started. No, my issue is Konami as a company is just not that good anymore, honestly.
No,
they have so many good IPs, and they screw over. It's like they screwed over Kojima. Metal Gear screwed. We barely get any Contra or Castlevania games anymore. They spend all
their money on the IPs themselves and not hiring competent fucking animators and writers. They spend so much money getting the IPs, they let everything else go to shit.
It's very just disheartening, but hopefully they get better. We'll see.
We'll see.
Now,
but back
last thing
you guys are saying.
Yeah, last thing we're gonna discuss. Not really discuss. Just want to bring up so it's not as positive or anything. But I thought I'd mention it today. We were filming. See, Prince Philip's. He passed away at age 99. That is a
God rest his soul.
I think he was only like 2 months from 100. And then we also lost, which this probably hurt a little more. DMX passed away today at 50. That's unfortunate,
It is very unfortunate.
I think it's important to bring these up just because those are some big news for today, obviously.
God rest your soul, DMX.
Well, one thing I'll say is just, I think that human life is a very, very important thing, and especially in this day and age, after all the stuff that we've all been through, bringing us closer as human beings. So I'd like to, wish them both farewell and peace and all that stuff. God rest their souls and all that.
For sure, man, for sure. And if anyone doesn't have anything else they'd like to add there, we've actually reached the end of the podcast. So, closing thoughts. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, go down to the description and join the official Super Saiyan 4 Tarful Discord server. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Cloud Chaser.
And hey, while you're down there, pop pop over to mine and Neon's channel. Give us a subscribe, and know that we're gonna come off of our hiatus soon with some new big projects in the work. And
We have
Cole
some amazing stuff planned.
and Cole's also going to be very deeply involved with some of those new projects. We have some collabs we want to do in the future.
That's
He's already
right.
told me that he wants me to be in future installments of this podcast. And Normiewitz isn't canceled anymore. We have plans for that.
Thank God.
Yay! So,
Yay.
you'll be seeing more of me and that Super Saiyan 4 bastard and this Super Saiyan Blue bastard in the future.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for Pride bloopers. That's gonna be a fun project once we get it going.
Absolutely, another wonderful project that has not been canceled and is still being worked on right now.
Yeah, woo!
But I'll have everyone's channels and social medias in the description. For sure. You guys definitely, if you have any you'd want me to put in there, just message me. This really goes for Josh, Alex, and Neon. Will, last week we already got yours. If you would like to add any more to the description, just send them to me and I'll do that for you. But yeah,
please go on to Will's social media platforms and sincerely apologize for us ruining his day. Just profoundly apologize to him for having to deal with our stupidity. Will,
One last thing I'd like to say that doesn't really anything related. So thank you for having me again. I know I've said that like 14 times, but I mean it. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for joining. We needed a fifth member, and you came at a good time, so it worked out perfectly for us.
And that's why I think I just wanted to say that you didn't have to choose me, but you did, and I hope you didn't regret it.
No. I think this episode went really well, especially the Godzilla vs. Kong was really good. The kaiju stuff was a lot of fun. And my goal with this whole podcast is to have different people on different episodes. I mean, look, the only people that were in the last episode were me and Will in this particular episode. I want to change it up as much as I can. And but yeah, does anyone else have any? Excuse me. Does anyone else have any other final thoughts they'd like to add?
What if we just rate the movie? What if we rated Godzilla vs.
That's
Kong?
a good way to end it. Let's all give
Let's everybody give a rating.
1 out of 10.
So Neon, you go first. You go first,
so
Neon.
Are we doing Are we doing 5 stars or just 1 out of 10?
We'll do the out of 10 or whatever, and just give for now. Just go ahead, just give the rating. You don't have to explain it because I think everyone gets it. Yeah.
Honestly, I love the movie personally, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this probably a 9.5 to about a 10 out of 10. I adore this movie.
All right. What about you, Alex? What would you give it?
I sincerely enjoyed it a lot. There were things that frustrated me. My only major complaint, everything aside, it's a cheesy monster movie. At the end of the day, I can forgive everything. There are a lot of really trippy things in this movie, and there wasn't a seizure warning at the beginning. There is some shit in Hollow Earth that can seriously fucking hurt people, and they seriously need to put a seizure warning in this movie. So
I can agree.
I'm gonna give it
That's a good point.
7 out of 10, just because it's way too flashy, and they didn't give a seizure warning. And aside from that, that's a really big mistake to make, and I'm deducting points for it because
if Kong would have won, it would be a 9 out of 10.
Let's just say that. I'm totally cool with the fact that Godzilla lost. He literally got beaten to death and had to get his heart restarted by humans on screen.
I wanted to get into the final battle, but I know I needed to move on.
No one can argue that he won.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next person.
Will, what would you rate the movie out of 10?
10 out of 10. Short and sweet.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. And what about you,
Change
Josh?
of pace, isn't it?
Yeah. What would you rate it?
Next?
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
Okay. For me, as a monster movie, I'd probably
You're
rate
a
it
monster
solid...
movie?
As a monster movie, I'd probably rate it about an 8.7 point. No, yeah, just 8. I'm kidding. 8.7 out of 10.
8.75396.
I think for a monster movie, it does what it needs to do, and it's just very entertaining. If I was to rate it more, I guess critically, maybe 8.2. Maybe it's like. I mean, honestly, I still think it's a normal. I think it's a normal movie at work.
I think roundabout. I give it a roundabout swing, so I'd probably go a comfortable 9. Probably a
Yeah, I
comfortable
think the
9.
movie works for what it is, and it's the monster movie I wanted. So there you go. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, be sure to see it in theaters. Hopefully you didn't watch this and get it all spoiled. But if you're one of those madmen, go watch it. It's also on HBO Max, which is probably how most people watched it during these trying times, right? But
Hey,
yeah, it
and
was a fun episode.
Trying times, the way that you said that.
I'm glad.
Definitely get a
thank-
subscription to HBO Max if you don't want to go to the movies, because there's some good shit on there.
yeah.
They got the Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. You know,
Ooh, yeah.
they got
That's what we talked
Rampage.
about last
You know,
week. It was really good.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
sponsored or anything, but they've seriously got some good stuff on there. So hey, $15 for a month, binge watch some shit.
And it's cheaper than the movies.
They got both South Park movies on there. They got the
Well,
first
and
one
it's,
and
and
the
it's also cheaper than going to the movies, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make popcorn at
So,
home, damn it.
How much popcorn did you want?
So I'm usually bad at doing goodbyes. So goodbye.